boys, follow up to the previous episode, tire comparison. I definitely got a little bit more variety today. Starting where we left off with the 265 70 R17, 285 70 17. Added the 305 70 R16, the KM3. So you definitely see the width. Jumping up to the the Nitto Trail Grappler 295 70 R17. Definitely see a little bit taller, but not as wide as a 305 70. It's more 33.5. And then we got the 35 12 half. I think these are 18s. Yeah, 35 12 half 18 Nitto Ridge Grappler, and then these monster Baja claws, the Mickey Thompson 37 12 half R17. Big difference between all of them, load rating and weight wise, width, true specs, everything. We're going to do that. If you want to jump ahead, just look in the video description down below. It'll show exactly where I compare to the other sizes. And what we have right now, we cycle through a lot of different tires here, but we had a couple requests in the previous video of 35s versus 315s, and I do have BF Goodrich 315 KO2 versus the Nitto Ridge Grappler in the 35, and there's definitely some minor differences. And when you look at like the 305 or the 70, 315, the 285, it's confusing the actual like the formula for figuring out how big and how wide that exactly is. It's not metric. You really just have to, it's like a formula where typically the first number is the width and the second number is the height. But it's not always true, because the 295 Toyo, which I'm going to pull over here in a minute, is a 35-inch tire versus this 295 70 is a 33.5. So you really got to just go to the tire manufacturer's websites and look at the true specs, and then also find some videos like these, because you know you'll see me measure them side by side, and they're not, sometimes they're narrower or not as tall than what the manufacturer websites are specifying. But as you can see, the differences in these already, especially with like the BFG and the Nitto, the Ridge Grappler, they're more of a rounded tread pattern, you know. So typically the wider the tire, the more squared off it's gonna be with a sidewall versus like a narrower one. So like as you guys saw in the previous video. Okay, since we left off with the 285s in the previous video, we'll jump up to the 295s and what I have in comparison right now. The 295 70 R17. The Nitto Trail Grappler. I have had these tires before. They're not the best daily driver tire. They're actually, I really like the look and the aggressiveness of them. They have the dual side, or different, let me how you say this. They have two different side walls. You have more of a more modern, and I'll get a close-up shot as you guys see, always see, and more of the traditional, more squared off side biters, and these are kind of more angled, but it's a good looking tire, very aggressive. Typically it's going to be a lot louder than their Ridge Grappler. They do make a few of these in like a C and a D load. You just got to look up the specs exact, but I know for sure these are E load, and they're definitely a heavier tire than the comparable, like the Mickey Thompson 295 70 R17 that I have is a little bit lighter than this tire. Width and height, it's almost near identical. And then you get the Toyo Mud Terrains. It's the 295 65 R20. As you can see, it is definitely not the same height. This is more of a 35. This is actually kind of a narrower tire for Toyo, because their tires are typically a little bit wider. If you go to Tacoma World, the forums, and look up their tire calculator, you can put in the specs on any tire you want, and it'll show you a side-by-side, like a mock-up basically. And you can see the percentage of how much wider or taller a tire is. And like I said, it's just always refer to a manufacturer's website to get the true specs. So let's look at these two, the actual true specs here. So the Trail Grappler, you know, the furthest tread over, which these they're not really notched out. They just have this extra lug, and I'll get a tight shot of this. You can see it's not really notched like some of the other ones, but they just look like they added a little additional lug to it. So I'll do that widest point there, and then I'll do the side tread as well. So it's looking right about 10 on that true tread, and then sidewall 11.5. Okay, and then these Toyos looks just shy of 9.5, and then the sidewall about 11.5, okay? And let's look at the height here. So this is right about, actually sitting right at about just shy of 33. It's literally like 32 and 15/16 the height. And like I mentioned in the previous It's not inflated, so you'll obviously gain a little bit of height. Okay, 34 7/8. So round it up, 35. Okay, let's move on to the 33 or 305s, and there's a variety of those here. Mickey Thompson, MTZ P3. Mickey Thompson, APZ P3. We turn it into 20s. Oh, these are heavy. Here's the unique, these actually have wheels mounted to them, so we'll see here. Most likely, these are 20s, so they're probably at least 10 inches wide, and they are heavy, which makes a huge, huge, huge difference. Like I mentioned in my previous video, load rating and sidewall. Consider these are 20s, you have a whole lot less rubber. So that means a whole lot less cushion. A lot of guys love this look. Not everyone is a big fan of the big 20s and 22s and 24s. I'm personally not a fan, and it's mostly because the ride quality is terrible. Especially with potholes, and I mean, it's just, you know, it's just common sense. The less rubber you have, the stiffer the rides are gonna be. It's just, I mean, and they're so heavy and they're so expensive. Not really the best for off-roading either, they're more for looks. 20s, 17s. I mean, there's literally probably a 10 to 15 pound difference between the two, and that's a lot of unsprung weight when you're hitting potholes. Look at these wide beasts. We'll look at these in here in a bit. These are called Off-Road Fury. I've never seen these till just recently. They just came in 33 1450 by 24. How do you think those are gonna ride? They're gonna be balling, huh? I'll tell you what, you're gonna be crying when you start hitting those potholes. That is one wide tire. Wow. Let's do the Nitto Trail Grappler. What do we got here? On a fuel wheel, looks like. Yep, fuel Maverick. I don't even know if I can fit them all in here. They're all so wide. So this is, yep, Trail Grappler, same thing, 20s, 33 12.5 on 20s. Super heavy. Compare that to your stock tire right there. Oh, here we go, one of my favorite tires. Outside they're all mostly E-load, but this is a 15-inch wheel, so this is the BFG KM3 33 12.5 R15. For any old schoolers out there, old school Jeep, old school Toyota, old school Chevy with a 15-inch wheel, super light, most likely a C-load. Yep, C-load. A lot more rubber. You guys can still see me over here. A lot more rubber sidewall. So typically a lot softer of a ride. More of a true off-road tire. Look at the difference between these tires. These are the 33s that I pulled out we happen to have. I mean, we definitely get more, you name it, every tire manufacturer we get them here, but this is what I just pulled off on hand, and you can just see the variety of difference. Okay, so starting in the corner, 33 12.5 R20, the Nitto Trail Grapplers, 305 65 R17, Mickey Thompson MTZ P3 17s, 305, what is this one? 305 55 R20, and then like I mentioned, these Off-Road Fury. Like I said, I've never seen these till today. These were special ordered for a customer. Crazy wide, 1450, 24-inch wheel, and then your BF Goodrich KM3 33 12.5 15. So you can see right off the bat, looking down on them side by side, look how much taller the Mickey Thompson Baja ATZ P3 is compared to the rest. Because it's inflated, but then again, if you look at them side by side with the MTZ P3, which is inflated as well, it's still a solid ½ inch to 3/4 inch taller. Okay, let's look at some specs here. You lose a lot of your side tread that you had on the deeper sidewall, comparably to the other one that we looked at, the 295/70 R17 is a lot less side tread here. On an inflated fuel Maverick wheel, I think this is a 20 by, God, might even be a 20 by 12. I'll know by when I do my tread time. Look, about 10 1/4 with the sidewall. It's like 13 wide, 13, yeah, so that wide, the wider the wheel, the wider your tires are gonna be. Makes sense, yep. So we did determine it was on a 20 by 12, 32 3/4. Okay, 305 65 R17. This is 33 12.5. Definitely a lot lighter. Still an E-load. True tread is just shy of 10 1/2 with the side 12 1/4. Diameter looking at about 32.5 on that one. Inflated. ATZ P3 305/55 R20. 10.25 and then sidewall to sidewall on these wheels, which is like another 20 by 12s. 13.25. So it's got to be. So when you put 20 by 12s or anything 12 wide, you can see how much wider it makes the tire. See how wide that actually is.
Yeah.
13.25 wide when you go 12.
What was the height?
33.25. A lot of people's favorite tire right now is the KM3. And like I said, it's a C-load, you know, a lot of side wall, so it's going to be a little softer. Definitely more of an off-road tire than the 20s. You can see the tread pattern on this one is definitely narrower, and the sidewall is way wide. They definitely round up a lot. That's kind of BFG does that, unless you go the straight 12.5. But this one looks a little narrower than the rest. 9.25. Yeah, definitely 12, 12.25, 32.25. So inflate it, and you'll definitely gain a little bit more height out of them and width. What do you know about these things, Jeff? What do you know about Fury Off-Road? Country Hunter. As you can see, that is a very low profile. A lot of wheel have to fit in there. Let's look at specs. Looks right about 12 inches, and then with the sidewall, just over 15 wide from here to here. Huh, interesting. Height's about 32. Okay. I want to compare the BFG 285/70 R17 to this one because it's actually a little wider than this one for some reason. Okay, actually this is the 305/70 R16. And look how wide that tire is. Look how much wider that tire is. This is supposedly a 33 12.5 R15. That is definitely a narrow 12.5. Interesting. Why so much variation in that? I have no idea. 10 inches of tread, almost 12.5, 12 3/8, the widest points. You can see, and almost the same height, but look how much wider that is on the 16s. If you got 16s and you want a wider tire, if you're trying to decide between 15 and 16 and these two tires, that's gonna be your one. But I believe this is a C-load. No, sorry, E-load, C-load. Stiffer, softer, but more plies, stronger. I'm gonna put the 285/70 R17 next to this, and you'll see some comparison here. Where is it? Buried in here. Got two new tires out. 9.5 of tread, and true full width 11.75. Let's look at the height. 32.25. Add some air, and you'll get some more height. I think every tire manufacturer just rounds up when they give you their specs, I guess. Okay. I had to do this because I'm about to get these tires, and I had to see them side by side with the KM3. Look at the difference in the width. They are almost the same height, but wow, look how much wider this is. I just really wish they had this in a D load again. You know, at least a D. C would even be better. Yeah, tough call. I don't think you're gonna go wrong with either one of them, but as you can see, side by side, look how much wider the KM3 is. See if I can actually feel the difference. Yeah, you can definitely feel the difference in weight. Anyway, there's a lot of guys running these right now, and I haven't seen really any negative feedback at all outside of the fact that they're just E-load, but a lot of guys said they're actually quieter and they roll very smooth, quieter than the KM2. I haven't installed mine yet, so I'm like, which tire, maybe you guys can help me choose. Which one would you go with on my 4Runner? I'm going for gas mileage, okay? I mean, these are still good, nice tires. Okay, last but not least, 35s. Got the General Grabber 315/75/16, the Toyo Open Country MT. We looked at earlier the 295/65/20s, the Nitto Ridge Grappler 35 12.5 R18s, and then the Arturo Trailblade 35 12.5 22s. That's actually inflated with a wheel. There's like some LRG wheels, and then the BFG KO2 315/75 R16, and you can see definitely, I mean, significant height on this one, shorter with a Ridge Grappler. These two are the two tallest. Actually, the General Grabber is right up there with a little bit of height on it as well. All right, let's measure. 9 3/4, looks like about 12, just shy of 9.5. 11 1/4. Ridge Grappler, about 10 1/8. 12 exactly. Arturo, right about 10. Same thing, right about 12. 10 1/4. 11 1/2 width on the KO2. Let's look at some height here. 34 3/4. That one back there. That one's actually on a wheel too. It's like a kind of a Pro Comp wheel or something. Standard Toyo MT. We looked at this earlier. This was, yeah, about 34 7/8, almost 35. Arturo. It's so similar, except they got way more aggressive side tread, like deeper legs than the Toyos, but shorter. This one's about 34 1/2, inflated with these orange wheels. Those are probably 12s. Yeah, 20 by 12s. Not even 34. Interesting. So a 315 75 16 is more like a 34. All right, boys, the end here. I did find another 37. If you guys know these tires, they are beast. The Nitto Mud Grappler. That is a full-blown off-roading tire right there. Not much of a daily driver. Unless you only had to drive about a couple miles a day. Oh, they're gonna be heavy. Compared to the Mickey Thompson claws. 37 12 half 17, and I think this is a 17 as well. Let me double check. 37 13 50 are 18 feet. How's that tread pattern? Take your pick. Which one would you rather have? Climbing rocks, mud. Very different tread pattern, very wide. Specifically says mud, claws. So what do you associate claws with climbing? Never run these and never run these. I have seen guys running these and they are loud. They don't last very long. But they are a beast tire, that's for sure. Okay, let's measure them. This one's inflated, this one's not inflated. Yeah, definitely the Nitto's a slightly, got the edge for sure wider, but it also is on a wheel, so that will widen the sidewall out. 10 3/4. Wow, about a true 12. Add the side treads in there, you're talking 13 1/2. This is right about 12. Wow, significantly wider. Let's see the height. 36 1/4. Yeah, 36 3/4. Half inch taller. And like I said, this is on a wheel. These are 18 by 9s, old school. I think they're called the Haas, XD Haas wheels. They're kind of old, but you can see what it would look like and how wide it'd be. If you put an even wider wheel on it, that thing would be crazy wide. Hope you have a pretty powerful powertrain to push those bad boys, or at least re-gear. All right, guys, that wraps up episode 2 of the tire comparison. Like I mentioned before, is always just check the tire manufacturers' websites, and they will give you, a rough estimate of what they are. And as you can see, they can be a little off, but keep in mind those are, always look at what size wheel they're measuring with, and that's important. If you didn't see what you were specifically looking for, or I didn't address any of the questions that you may have, please leave a comment, any requests, and we will try in a timely manner to get back to them. And just anything else you want to see, that's it. We're done for the night, and please subscribe, help build the channel further. Once again, thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll see you. Off work, time to go.